It was 1844. Communication changed forever. The first electrical instruments for telegraphic transmissions were invented by Samuel F.B. Morse in 1832. In 1844, the first telegraphic message was sent. This action sent a fresh pulse current into the line, and this pulse activated successive relays until the receiver was reached.
The telegraph, any form of communication over long distances in which messages are transmitted by signals or sounds. The development of the telegraph was considered a huge phenomenon.
Morse sent a coded message that traveled along a wire extending from the Supreme Court chamber in Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland.
Attempts at long-distance communication date back thousands of years, but never became a reality until 1844.
By 1861, the telegraph line spread from the west side to the east side of America. In 1862, the message was sent from one end of the country to the other.
The telegraph line was worked on for another 4 years until it was ready to be used. In 1866, the first permanently successful long-distance telegraph was used.
Morse used a simple code in which messages were transmitted by electrical pulses passing over a single wire.
Morse and his assistants developed a relay apparatus that could be attached to the telegraph line from the signal station to repeat signals automatically. Morse's apparatus was also set in the first public telegraph in 1844. It resembled a switch that allowed to pass for a prescribed length of time, and then it shut off at the press of a button.
When there was a crime or fight, the telegraph came into use for contacting the police.
The Stearns of Massachusetts devised a method for duplex telegraphy, enabling two messages to be sent over the same wire at the same time. The American telegraph was also of great significance for communicating in the railways.
The main telegraph system of modern day was the American telegraph system. It dates back to 1851, but got shut down in 2006.
Today, telegraphs are rarely used due to the fact of cell phones and computers. In 1915, coast-to-coast calling became a thing which brought down the popularity of the American telegraph system.
Morse code and the telegraph were majorly used during war times.
Samuel Morse's final official patent was registered just a few months before the war.
The transportation of troops, ammunition, war equipment, military property, and store materials were under immediate control and supervision of the Secretary of War and Grant over the telegraph.
Abraham Lincoln realized how large of a weapon the telegraph truly was in the Civil War. Abraham used the telegraph to win the war. He could now directly inform generals and commanders what to do. The telegraph was also a way for Abraham Lincoln to keep an eye on his generals, commanders, and troops.
Some people could only use the telegraph lines if they were part of a military establishment of the United States.
Under military control, all officers, agents, and employees belonging to the telegraph lines can take possession of all restrictions imposed by the rules and articles of war.
William Russell, Alexander Majors, and William Waddell were all very rich Midwestern men who had many problems with the Pony Express. They published writing about how great the telegraph was and how it saved people time and money. Each of these men spent over $200,000 to get the telegraph started and to keep it running.
With the telegraph getting more and more popular, the Pony Express started to struggle.
Goods and services could now be sold over long distances as well. The first message ever sent on the telegraph was "What hath God wrought?" In that brief moment, the telegraph was born. The age of modern communication had begun.